rushing attack going against one of the top defenses in the NFL at stopping the run. The Lions currently allowing the fourth fewest rush yards per game, while the Cowboys have averaged the fewest in the NFL. In Dallas last season, the Lions held the Cowboys to just 61 rush yards and 2.9 yards per carry. People may remember that one. Marcus, on the Cowboys side of things, what needs to happen offensively to keep them in this game?
Yeah, Boogie, you just went over the graphic. It's no secret. This team is going to have to be balanced. I said last week they have to make games long and hope that they can make plays like Dak was able to do at the end of the game last week. Because here's the thing when you're playing against the Detroit Lions. First down is critical. You get in long yardage situations, and Aiden Hutchinson is going to have his way with your offensive tackles. That's something that they have to be aware of, too, just to keep them honest. And two, there's always an issue with teams that play Detroit when you can't control the football, because we know that we know that Detroit wants to be a play action based offense. They also want to establish the run in the line of scrimmage and hold time of possession and hit you with some chunk plays. So Dallas is going to have to possess the football, but more importantly, they're going to have to stay pretty even on the ground. One dimensional, it's over.
How they perform against man coverage on offense will go a long way. It's strength on strength. Detroit runs it a ton, and Dallas is actually pretty good at it, specifically throwing to CeeDee Lamb. Number one, this is 2 weeks ago. That's DK Metcalf at the top. They motion the back. He's matched by a linebacker. Dallas will do this, and then they're going to try to get CeeDee the ball. That's first Carlton Davis. DK wins at the line of scrimmage. Huge chunk. The second thing is getting into these bunch sets that we saw Seattle do it against Detroit, and then Dallas did it last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and making Detroit pass things off through picks and motions and runs. The other thing that I would pay attention to here, if I were Dallas, I would make Terrion Arnold tackle. If you go back to that Seattle game, Seattle made it a clear effort to get him to tackle and to take on blockers out on the perimeter. After a bye week, if I were Dallas and I watched that tape early on in that football game, I would see, has that rookie, who's had really good moments, has he figured out and fixed, all right, are you willing to tackle?
By the way, Dak Prescott has averaged the sixth most yards per attempt versus man coverage this season. So a specific one to point out, though. We'll see what they do with Terrion. Hey, to more news this week, the Patriots have decided to go ahead and turn to third overall pick Drake Maye as their starting quarterback. They picked a week to do it when they faced the Texans. Interesting time. Head coach Gerard Mayo said he wants to see what Maye is made of. Here's more on the reasoning behind this decision.
I think it's a combination of a couple of things, really. Offensively, we're not where we want to be. From a production standpoint, especially in the pass game. I think that leads to some of that decision, and also the fact to see his growth and development over those weeks of practice and what he's put on the practice field. I think two of those combined, we're close, but the reality of it is we're not. We're 1-4, and at this point we need to find something to get us a chance to win on Sunday. And we thought with Drake's development over the past first part of the season on the practice field that he was ready to step in and take over.
That's Pats OC Alex Van Pelt there. RC, how do you expect the Texans defense to play Maye in his first start?
Like he a rookie getting his first start and they gonna get after his keister? You can't block the rushers for the Houston Texans. You just can't. You ain't really blocked anybody all year, and you definitely won't block them this week. And you're going to play a team that majors in man-to-man coverage with Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter on the outside, a team that plays a ton of nickel. Now, if your thought is, right, because Maye and Mayo, I do like the way that sounds. If your thought is we're going to stick to the run game, we're going to protect this kid, we're going to move the pocket, give him some opportunities for options between run and pass, then that works. But the only reason I could see starting Drake Maye this week is because you play a game at home and you're absolutely done with Jacoby Brissett, and you think to yourself, I don't care if we win, I don't care if we ruin this kid, it has to be better than what we've seen for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't love this matchup for New England. I do think one thing that's worth highlighting that they need to really be prepared for New England is this Texans defense brings a lot of pressure. And I say that with some surprise because that's not what DeMeco Ryans has historically done, right? He has not leaned heavily on the blitz in years past, and that's not what they did in San Francisco. But so far this season, these Texans are blitzing at the 7th highest rate in the NFL. If you want to see how badly that can go watch Caleb Williams' tape against them. They blitzed him on over 40% of dropbacks, sacked him 7 times. So for New England, in terms of trying to get Drake Maye through this, RC hit on all the things they need to do, put him on the move, try to create some easy opportunities for him in the passing game. But they also need to prepare him for the blitz because it is coming.
Yeah, and I love that Mina mentioned the blitz. This team plays a ton of sub personnel, which is nickel, because now they've moved Jalen Petrie into the block, into the box. I believe him combined with Algiz Al-Shire, they use some of that speed to add to the rush, and that's made it extremely difficult for teams to protect against DeMeco Ryans' defense this year.
Man, you just hope that Drake Maye stays protected in this game and stays healthy. We're all going to be looking out to see what happens. You never know, though.
Loyal Cowboys fan, we've got something big happening behind the scenes. You've probably noticed that our team is looking for reinforcements, especially on offense. And of course, like any true fan, you feel that anxiety with every game, waiting for the offense to finally click, right? After all, we can't rely on just CD Lamb. But before we dive into the main point, let me ask you, how many times have you seen our offense struggle in the last few games? It wasn't just once. The lack of depth in the receiving group is obvious, and even with talents like Jalen Tolbert, the truth is, we're missing that key player to give us the boost we've all been hoping for. Especially now, with Brandon Cooks sidelined. And here's the big question. Are the Cowboys front office willing to risk it all for a player who could change the course of the season? The situation is critical. The trade deadline is fast approaching, and the Cowboys are scouring the market for a star who could be the solution to our offensive problems. And according to the latest reports, one very interesting name has popped up, T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. That's right. The explosive wide receiver, known for being a game changer on the field, might just be about to wear our jersey. Higgins is in the final year of his contract, and with the Bengals going through a nightmare of a season, they've lost their way a bit. Could they be ready to let Higgins go to Dallas? With the trade deadline looming, the chances of seeing this big-time player on our team are real. Just imagine T. Higgins lining up alongside CD Lamb, forming one of the most dangerous duos in the NFL. This wouldn't just solve our depth issues, it could completely transform our offense. Now, fan, I ask you, do you think it's worth making a blockbuster trade for a player like Higgins, even with the risk that he could just be a rental until the end of the season? Is Jerry Jones ready to go all in for a Super Bowl run? If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see our team stronger than ever, go ahead and hit that like button, share this news with other fans, and of course, subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything happening with the Cowboys. Let's ride this journey together.